Alright, welcome back to the channel where we're building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. And no worries, aka Bob. Everyone's got stuff going on, so I totally get it. And of course, we're already messing up. So the only way I know how to fix this bug here is detaching from Tmux, killing all our Tmux servers, remaking a Tmux session, and going back into our program here. But at least, yo, how was vacation? We've got some corrupted gecko action going on now. I don't know if you've been keeping tabs on the stream, but he tracks us and then ultimately kisses us, I guess, once he gets to us. Yeah, we've got some particle systems for our spellcasting. We've got some basic AI for our corrupted gecko, as well as some particle systems for our corrupted gecko, and now basic AI. So today we're going to be in, and so starting today, I got my first homework for my coding bootcamp that I'm doing. So it's a 10-week intensive course. So it's full-time, so I'm going to be leaving work for a while. But that also means I probably can't stream as long every night because I have homework. So I'm thinking starting tonight we might just be, you know, up to an hour stream at night. I'm hoping to still stream every day, but we'll see how that goes. Depends on my workload and how seriously I want to take my classes, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be stuck at a computer doing homework, and then I don't really want to be, you know, stuck doing more computer stuff if that's my entire day. So we'll just have to play by ear and see how we feel with that. But today, yesterday we got it so that if we walk off screen, our entity there doesn't walk off with us. And then aka Bob, I don't know if you've seen this yet. Well, we've got collidable map objects like our fence here, so we can't walk through our fence, and we've got a little log cabin here, and it's like it's collidable here and here, but on the door we can actually walk through it. So we have to get some stenciling done so that we can draw the outer door over our character so it doesn't look like we're standing on top of it. So we'll have to do that stenciling at some point. But then if we go back here, if we walk back on our screen, our corrupted gecko is exactly the exact frame he was at when we left him, as well as all the particles. So I think we want to come up with some way to reset the entities to its default values by the time we walk off and come back on. So instead of all the particles still being there as if no time had passed, because that's essentially what's happening, is we pause its state, and then we don't update it again until we're back on that scene. So I think we want to add something where we reset our entities. If it's so great, he gets all crazy when he lands on us. He's going crazy. But it was freakier when he was rendered on top of us, because it looked like he was just like on our face. So I think today we're going to work on trying to get our entity to reset back to its original position, instead of just become updating again once we come back. So that way we can, that's more like Link's Awakening, and I don't know how much I'm tied to making it like Link's Awakening. Like, I don't know, it could be interesting to keep them in the same position they were when they left off, but I really don't know. It's just one of those things that we'll have to experiment with, and there isn't a great way to show this off, but the gecko right now doesn't have any collision detection with like that. He shouldn't be able to walk over the fence like that when he's tracking us. He shouldn't be able to walk through the fence like that. So we have to add collision detection for our entities, as well as technically some smarter AI as well, because if he gets, like, say he was over here, right now his AI only tracks our X position first, and then he goes for our Y position. So if we were right here and the gecko were up here on the path, he would just be stuck. Once we add collision detection, he would be stuck walking into the wall here forever and never end up getting to us. So at some point here, probably soon, we need to figure out a better AI. that. If he's running into a collidable map object, go ahead and make your Y closer instead of your X first. But we'll have to figure that out here soon. But let's see if we can't get our entity to just reset. Like when we come back to it, we want it to be back where it used to be, not where he was already set. Because if we go ahead and load, you can see that there's two different states. This is the idle state, which he waits, and then there's like a pursue state, which he actually goes and tracks us. So right now the pursue state kicks in after a random of 1 to 5 seconds. But that's, you know, that's something we can change based on a distance, you know. Like if we get within 2 tiles of the gecko, maybe he'll kick on or something like that. And we'll be able to have different AI for different creatures or bad guys here. But I guess let's go see, where are we? Let's go see where our AI logic is and see if we can't figure out how to pair it so that we can reset it every time we come back to the scene. I'll just call it entity resets here. Now, if we go check out our map declarations, we'll see that we actually insert a gecko entity into map 2 here upon our map declarations. Now the problem with this is all the correct values to start the entity, but we need a way to kind of reset the entity back to these original starting positions. So we need to come up with a way to kind of store all of these, and each entity, you know, like map 1-2 might have this corrupted gecko, but map 1-3 might have something totally different. So we have to have a way of saying like, hey, map 1-2, here's your base entities, and then if we leave, we're gonna go reset all those base entities to be their original settings until you come back. And then I don't know exactly how we go about that while making it clean, because it's like we have to load these default settings on a next map instantiation of a scene that has entities. So ideally we would say something like, in our scene here, we go like we can search for a begin shifting. So like here's our begin shifting logic, which starts a new map, right? So like once that new map comes on, we need to, like once we begin shifting, that's the very frame we need to place our entities, right? Because as the scene shifts on screen, the entities need to be in spot already. And we can see that is the case. So like he's there in the middle. Oh, he turned so fast. But see how he needs to be there by the time we make our map go towards him. So I think we might want to put that here in the begin shifting, because as soon as we begin shifting, the next map's entities need to be populated. And right now we aren't doing that. Like we aren't doing anything to our entities. But if we had a thing that is like we would probably need to pass in our reference to our current scene or whatever our next map location would be. Where do we set our next map? Yeah, okay, so before we call this next map, or before we call begin shifting, we already set our next map. So it's just that we would need to either write a function to insert instantiations of entities inside our next map, or write a function that takes in as argument the index of our map and which table to look up those entities in order to place them. So I'm not sure what our best move is here. We're instantiating the map, and then we could, you know, we don't want to say anything, we don't want to hard code anything in here as if like, you know, if map 1-1 generate map 1-1 entities. Like we want to say like, ideally, maybe the move is like if we had a function called generate entities or reset entities. Like we don't have this function yet, but if we had a reset entities function, and we're going to take in whatever, this is actually the index of what our next map is going to be. Then if we had a function that did this, that took in x and y of our global map table, and then that map, or this function would actually look up how many entities are in this map declaration, and then go ahead and insert and overwrite them to the default positions. Then we would have to run this reset entities direction on a different map depending on what scene transition we run. But this might be the way to do it. We would have to have this reset entities would have to be a global function because we have to call it from our scene, right? But we'd have to give it a certain, because like what I'm trying to avoid is, like, since there's potentially 100 maps, right? I'm trying to avoid saying, oh, if reset entities is 1-1, populate these maps. If it's 1-2, populate these maps, all the way through 100. So it's kind of like if we had another global table of just indices, well, yeah, like if we had just like a global table, because we can store a function inside a table. So it's almost like if we had a 2D array of functions, we could just go in and add the proper no, okay, hold on. Let's this is like a placeholder idea for how to do this, right? But let's look at our map declaration. So it's like we've got our map populations up here for our tile IDs, but then we go ahead and we have to, yesterday we were running into some problems by trying to do this stuff before we finished populating all our global map tables. So we have to make this entities table for each map after we populate them with their tile IDs. I don't know if that's an absolute necessary, but we had to do that to get it to work yesterday. So ideally, we have, this is what we need to insert in order for one map to get one entity instantiation, right? I mean, we could get more than one of the same type entities by just changing this local variable, but this is what we would need to add into our corresponding entities table. So instead of a function, like I was thinking, storing a function to go populate those things, maybe we just put, we'd have to put, if reset entities takes in a certain map, yeah, see, how do we do this? Because if we had this reset entities function and it took in a map row and column, then we would still need to know what map row and column to insert this stuff into. Oh my gosh, column. Yeah, we'd want to say, yeah, how do we, yeah, I'm a little stumped because we want to be able to insert a potentially a bunch of entities. We might have some geckos, we might have some birds, we might have some whatever. So we need a way to look up the default entities that we need to put in there, but then reset them to where we initialize them. So ideally we kind of use the same code for, hey, we're telling you where they belong, and then go ahead and reset them to that, so that we don't have to declare their origin points more than once. But I'm a little stumped on how to do that. Hey, Super King. Object pool, define their resets as a part of grabbing them from the pool. I mean, that sounds right. Like, I don't know what, I've never heard of object pool, but this sounds right. Like, it's like, you know, they have default values we want to instantiate them at, and then once we walk off screen, by the time we come back to them, they need to be reset to that original object pool or whatever you're saying. So I think what you're saying like sounds like what I'm trying to do. I just, you know, I've never done this sort of stuff, so I'm trying to figure it out. Object pooling is a concept for dealing with massive amounts of entities. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good term for me to Google and try to wrap my head around this. Yeah, exactly. I will look into that, Super King. Thank you. That is a good, because I didn't know what to call it. So now I have a thing to call it. So now I can actually Google some potential solutions. But yeah, because it's like we want, you know, not every time a gecko's going to have the same direction. Not every time the entity is going to be of type gecko. Not every time the X and Y position want to be in one spot. So it's like we have to somehow define this entity pool for each scene so that we can reset the entity pool every time we begin shifting into that scene. So I'm not exactly sure how we would go about building an entity pool like that. It's almost like if our entity class itself had a reset default position or something, then we can just run that function on every entity in our entity pool, and it would take whatever our init values were and go ahead and reset all of their values to be those init values. So that's kind of my first take on how to do this. Yeah, because it's like, ideally we declare these all once, and each entity, you know, we'd want to reset each entity to its original init position. So if we have a function for each entity to go ahead and change all of its values back to its init position, then all we have to do is cycle through all our map entities and reset the entity positions from our entity pool. And then that would prevent us from having to redefine any state machines. We would just have a sort of, we would have to kind of copy these default positions into the entity's memory somewhere, so that we can call this function and reset it back to what we initialized them as. So let's take a look at our entity class and just see. We've got a bunch of init values. We've got a couple functions for it, for collision detection. I don't know if I like this, where we have the particle system for every, or like, you know, a gecko's particle system is part of every single entity. I don't know if I like that. But this gives us at least a way to say, if type bird, give it a bird particle system or whatever we want to do. But yeah, I think we would want to, since we define these things, I mean, we kind of initialize them to whatever kind of initial values here, but if we save whatever we, hey, thank you, Super King, I appreciate that. I don't know if you were here when I was saying I got accepted, I got a scholarship for a full stack development bootcamp. So I'm starting that class here this week. My homework starts today. So I'm gonna be taking that. It's part of the apprenticeship program for my state. So their goal is to hook people up with apprentices and mentors so that I can get on-the-job experience in the track I'm in is applications developer. What are you, Super King? Oh, not like literally steal your job. Not that you wouldn't want me to have the same title, but like to literally not steal your job. Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, I mean, I'm not super into web dev. It's just that this program will cover 3 of the 5 of my classes that I need for this apprenticeship program, and it couldn't hurt to just build some more stuff and work with real programmers. So I'm really blessed that I was able to get this scholarship, so I can actually afford it. They're covering the cost of the class. I just need to take off 10 weeks of work in order to do it. But I'm hoping it'll open a lot of potential opportunity for me to just do more programming. So thank you, Super King. I appreciate that. Well, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna try to stream throughout it. But like I said, I have to stream a little less than I've been doing because I've got so much homework now. But I'll be done through mid-June or whatever. So mid-June rolls around and I should be back up and running to however much we want a day. But I'm probably gonna start doing like hour-long streams or maybe a bit shorter depending on my workload. So I'll see if I can keep it going, but we'll just have to play it by ear. Oh, hey, that is super nice of you, Super King. I really appreciate that. That is very nice of you. Thank you. And I like Programmer Jeff too, so that's a win-win. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Super King. You are a big supporter of the channel, so I really appreciate you. So it's almost like we need to put like these values right here that we're setting, like the direction, the type. I wonder if we can cram this into the init. Hey, yeah, I know. It was Rough Cookie, right? You came over with Rough Cookie's gang. That's been fun. I'll watch him every once in a while when I see him on. But yeah, you guys are really cool. So you guys are all super friendly, and I've been a part of his stream once or twice where we raided somebody and we all instantly followed them and gave them support. So it's a fun crew. You guys are. So we at least need, and I'm curious if we can we should be able to put the dot direction and dot type here inside the entity definition. I don't know why we have it out here manually. Let's see if there's anything to our direction or type that might be preventing us from doing something like that. We have a type and we have a dot animation, so we should be able to move this inside our entity definition here and clean up some of this. So like we would say just direction gets whatever direction we want it to start with, and then a dot type, no, it's just type, gets whatever type of entity, and that's for the AI. So right now that's all we're doing with the entity type is running its process AI depending on its type. So I'm gonna see if our game running now is unchanged. It doesn't look like he's facing up, and he doesn't have the particle system now that we changed that. So that is really weird, because we're not, I don't know, we're not doing anything different other than, no, yeah, we're inserting it into our entities table for the corresponding map. And then we go ahead and give it the state machine it needs and change its state machine. So the only thing I could think of is that our inits are overriding this. So we go to our here. Maybe if we take off this default, we need this. we might need to separate those two. I don't know how it works. Like if we instantiate an entity like this in the table notation, then does the init of our class overwrite what we're defining here? Because that's kind of what it seems like. Well, no, because we're passing in the animations. It's just that direction, and maybe our direction, now that we took our direction out of our entity. Oh, no, we didn't even do that. Hold on. Yeah, we've got to take our direction. And this would mean anytime we instantiate an entity, we'd need to make sure to give it a direction, but let me see if he's facing up at least now. And we're not. So it looks like the init runs first, because we've got an idle state that it needs a direction for, even though, oh, it's hard to say because our entity covers even our player. I think our player is of type entity too. So it could be crashing not even on the gecko here. But I'm a little confused why manually putting our direction here, once we declare it right here, I don't know why it overwrites the direction, because he's facing down there, which is part of the init up here, direction down, but we're giving it up when we declare it here. So I'm confused because I'm able to give him the correct corrupted gecko animations. That is really weird. Because we turn those back on and it works magically, but I don't know why that's the case. You would think that, all this is doing is going into the entities at the ith position, which is that's exactly what we're inserting into our entity table here in our map 1-2. So I'm not sure why he's doing something different. Yeah, Super King, thank you. Here, I gotta get better at doing this. I gotta do the old shout out. But yeah, super cool of Super King to hook up Programmer Jeff here. Thanks, man. So I guess if we just... Yeah, so I just figured this out the other day. It's that like it'll say join us for following whenever I give you or if someone gets a shout out, it'll show everyone in chat like a little easy to click follow button. I think that's all it is though. I mean, and then it'll show up in your like Twitch activity stuff. It'll say like Finding Focus gave you a shout out to X amount of viewers or whatever. Well, hey, that's pretty good. Some people never stream at all. Oh my gosh. Oh, dude, I love that game. I love Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I have definitely had sleepovers where like we beat that game in one night, I love that game. The animations in that game really stick out to me. Even till this day, I'm like, I just remember that stuff. This is really strange to me that this doesn't get the same thing accomplished as this. Yeah, he's just facing down. He doesn't have a particle system. He still gets his state logic change, but he doesn't have his particle system. Because I'm assuming his type isn't getting assigned. But that is weird. I feel like it has to do with this going. Yeah, dude, I can see that, but I mean, you can go for it anyway. Like someone is gonna like it. You know? I remember, yeah, me and my friends would always try to max out all the different characters. That's cool. Yeah, I've only had the, I guess, is Dark Legacy the PS2 one, right? Because I don't know if I ever knew what the arcade one was. I'm curious now. Because, yeah, we had the PS2 one, and that thing got so much gameplay. We love that game. This is really confusing to me. I want to say that these are overriding, but so like if we take out our type from our entity class, we still define the entities.type as a gecko here. Does it still not have the particle system? And yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't get the particle system back until we overwrite the type here. That is so strange to me. I don't know why that's happening. We're doing the same thing. We're going into our map dot entities. Oh god. We're going into our map dot entities and we're putting in an entity instantiation with X amount of values. It has to be something with, well, you would see, I would think it would be something with the init overriding it, like our type getting nil here in our init for our entity, but when I comment that out, it doesn't work. Like it still doesn't update the particle system. We give it the gecko here, and then we don't do this, and we don't do this, it should render the particle system no problem. Yeah. That is so strange to me. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that this would be the outcome of this. You know what? Let me go ahead and try to print out the self.type of our entity once we instantiate it from our map objects here. Our map declarations rather. So look, we give a type the dot gecko, or the type of string gecko here, and then I want to print up. I think so. I think it has enums in the sense that, like I've got. Someone was just teaching me what enums were. I still don't know if I know it exactly, but in our map declarations up here, actually, it's in our constants. We're setting all of these brick variables to numbers. So when we go ahead and draw our tile map from our map declarations, we can use these words as the numbers. So I don't know if that's constraining the possible string values. Okay, so yeah, that was, I didn't know exactly what it was, but it's at least, yeah, I don't know. I've got to look more into enums. I've heard that term before. Because like when we're doing our map instantiations here, we can say what string we want, but this just gets evaluated to the number, and then that's the tile ID from our master sheet that it's drawing. So that was my only kind of mental model of what enums were in my concept. Hey R-Man, how's it going? Thanks for the first time chat. Yeah, I still want to print up, what type this entity is, and see if that's populating the gecko, even though like we do put it here. I want to see if it's not. I don't think it is a type gecko because it's not rendering the particle system. But let's go ahead and add some render for our. And I'm curious if we could just put it here. No, we don't want to put it in our entity. I don't know where we would want to put it. We could just put it in our scene, I guess. Just literally gonna see make sure we can see our debug on screen here, which I'm not seeing. We might need to set our color. Okay, so we're gonna say this is our entity type here. And what we want to put here is the value of our map12 dot entities at the first index dot type. And I'm assuming this is going to be nil. We need a what? We need to close this. So yeah, R-Man, we are making a game from scratch here. We're trying to build a top-down adventure game where we've got spellcasting and creatures, and ultimately there's going to be some music in the game, which we're going to be working on in the not too distant future. But right now we're trying to be able to reset all our entities back to their original position. So I'm just trying to debug why our entity instantiations aren't getting the right values that we're passing it, and I'm confused here because we can put type gecko, but it doesn't show up. Is that you, R-Man? Hey, I appreciate the follow, dude. Yeah, we'll be building this game. I'm hoping to ultimately release this game to the public and everything. I mean, the GitHub will always be free, but I'm hoping to release it on Steam in a couple years by the time we finish it, but it'll be free forever on the GitHub just because I don't want to, have a barrier to entry for people who want to play the game. So I'll be posting it for free, but I'm hoping for a Steam release as well at some point. So like what's so weird is if we define the type as gecko right here, we get the particle system and we get the entity type as a gecko. So there's just something I'm not understanding in the way we populate this. Like it's still in our entity, still in our entities table for our map12. I just don't get why it's like that, because this doesn't work either. Our direction isn't up either because we're facing downwards. If we were to go to our init up here and we change this to be up, then it becomes up, but we still don't have the type or the right direction, even though we're doing this. So maybe, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I wonder if we and we tried this already, like if we take out, like, hey, we don't have, yeah, if we take this out of the init, then we never end up having it in the first place. Like we take it out there, then we can't even do it because it doesn't have a direction. Even though we're saying in our map declaration, we're saying, hey, go into our entity and give us a direction field, set it equal to up. It doesn't like that. So I'm kind of curious if instead of doing it like this, because the only other way I know how to make an instantiation of a class like that is to do the parentheses, right? So it's like we would say like gecko gets an entity class, and then we can say go ahead and put all these things inside the gecko entity instantiation. But that gets messy because we're having to have a bunch of different local variables. Yeah, I'm not so sure on what to try here. I mean, we can, I guess for now, we'll just keep these manual declarations out here. It's like, for whatever reason, we had these out here anyway already. It's like we had done that to get it working, at least for the direction. Oh, well, we gotta give our direction back. Let's say we'll change it to it's down because our player is an entity, and we want to default our player to facing down so we can see their face. So I guess if we keep it like that, we just have to. It just makes our instantiations a bit messier because we have to go ahead and define another two things outside of our original definition here. But I like Super King's idea for this entity pool. And I think, how do we want to do this? So is your loop not looping? I don't know what that's in response to for, I'm not sure what that is in response to. Because this is only ever defined once. This is only ever defined once out here in our map declarations. So we're going into our map object. Well, it's actually not even a map object. It's just where we're putting all of our map tiles. I call it map declarations, but it's not even a class. It's not a class. It's just global variables that are holding, global tables, I should say, that are holding tile IDs as well as a list of potential entities. So we do want to be able to say, yeah, how would we do this? Because we could have a, like, I want to say, like, instead of potentially putting, my for loop goes from 1 to 1, so no loop. Let me see. I was under the impression that Lua counted, since Lua's one index, I thought it counted inclusively the limit here, but I don't know for a fact. Yeah, let me see. I think it does, but no loop, run only once. Yeah, I mean, I guess because we only need it once because there's only one entity right now that we're defining. But is that part of the problem? We go back to our map declarations. So if we said, hey, we want two entities, and then we want one gecko's entities. See, and this is weird too, because it's like, we'd want to give, we don't want exact entities in the same exact locations. We'd want to put one of them. See, yeah, I don't know the best way to do this. Because I'm not trying, like, I'm just trying to get, like, I'm not trying to hard code in this, like, map 1, 2. It, like, ideally we would have it as part of our map objects, that we have like a sort of global declaration for entities and their reset positions, probably outside of this map declarations file, but I'm not exactly sure. But if we have our X and we just want to multiply whatever whatever our current X is times our I, so that we could hopefully give two different X positions to both entities. We can see if if our loop is looping, and we've got 2. So yeah, like we've got 2, and this is counting at 1 up to 2. So if this were like C, it wouldn't count. It would go up to but not including. But I think Lua, since it's 1 indexed, if we say for I gets 1, 3, it'll run actually 3 times, even though it kind of feels like a sin. PewDieMagus is saying it should be for I gets 1 for the value of map entities do. Yeah, I agree, because it's like I guess because the thing is, we don't have right here, we're giving each map an empty table of entities, and this is kind of actually giving those values, the entities in the first place, for us to be able to do something like the number, I forget what that's called. Is that called the number operator, or I don't know what that's even called, the list? No, I've got to look up what that's called so I know what to reference that as. But this is just giving us those entities in the first place, because we can't say the number of map entities here, because as of right now our entities there's nothing. It's just initialized to an empty table. But I see what you're saying. But I do want to be able to, I want each entity to kind of remember its initialized positions, so that we can go cycle through the hashtag, for the array size. I want to be able to cycle through the number of map entities and go ahead and reset their position upon a begin transition, so they all reset. But it's a little concerning to me that this isn't functioning like I thought it would. Like, we can't just define the type here and the direction here and have it work. That's really concerning to me. That I don't understand that. Because I thought for sure that we would just be able to say direction gets up and have that be inherited by our entities. Oh gosh, here we go. See, and then they defaulted downwards. That's so weird to me. Because our animations is still inheriting our animations. That's not getting overwritten by the init. Well, oh, hold on, we're passing in the def animations. Okay, so maybe we gotta do this then. Yeah, we gotta just say, that it's the def of whatever the type. And then maybe, same with direction. Maybe we can say def dot direction, or down if we don't give it. And then we can say this is or nil if we don't give it. And then maybe we're facing up now. Yes, okay. That's good. So now we can move those things out. Okay, cool. That works. That makes more sense now. We can go to our map declarations, and now hopefully we can move. Yeah, we should be able to take this direction. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me go. Is this, yeah, this defaults to down. So why were they facing up if we took that out? Okay. We just didn't save this. So now we should be able to say direction for these geckos gets, let's just say left, and see that they're inheriting that correctly. Should be facing left. Okay, cool. That makes me happy that that actually does work. So I was confused why that was the case. And then give it type gecko, and that means we can take this out. And then our loop still be looping, because we've got 2 at different X positions, and they each have their own start time and everything. They'll get combined over time because they have the same AI, but this is cool. So now I think what we can do, and I want to go back to just one here while we look at stuff. So I want these variables that we're passing in, to become the values that we need to reset the entities to. So we should hopefully be able to save these values, and then we have a function called reset position that will go ahead and change all those values back to their defined positions. So if we need like a list of all the things, right? Like we've got we need to have separate memories so that we can remember all of these things, like original animation. And if this is in the init, because it's like we're going to be updating things like our X and Y and our direction. So I think we just want separate variables to store what our defined animations were, for example. But animations is the one example that's different because we actually need to run the create animations on it. But did everyone have a good Monday? It was a little slow at work for me, but at least we get to come home and program. Yeah, then I want original X. So I think what we'll do here is we'll make an entity have a function called reset original values. Hey Arman, I'm glad you think it's cool. I'm definitely not a very skilled programmer, so I'm definitely learning as I go. But I'm glad you're finding it interesting, because this is kind of why I started the channel. I was hoping that someone could feel like they don't have to know exactly what they're doing to get started. There's not a lot of material out there of just like newbies kind of like sifting through all the crud of trying to figure out game dev, so hope it can be of help. Oh, dude, yeah, we can put in the swing set bug as a callback to GTA 4 for sure. So we want this to be called original direction, right? And then we want it to take in the defined direction that we init with. And then what else? Yeah, we've got our original X and Y. We've got our original direction. And we need our original type. I can't tell if more people than us figured out that GTA 4 swing glitch. I don't even know when we found it, but I don't think we found it from a video. I think we found it just messing around. Yep, so we've got original animation, original X and Y, original direction, original type. And we're not going to be changing our width and height, so I feel like we're good leaving those out. But if each entity now has a copy of the initted things such as this, now we probably wouldn't need, since our animation is our atlas, I don't think we would need this, but just in case we might have it. Let's keep this just in case. But we do need a new function, and it'll be called reset positions or reset original position or something like that. Reset original position, and it doesn't take in any value, but what it will do is just reassign its things to be, and I guess let's start with original animation. And actually, yeah, we want to reset our animations, Is it with an S? Yes. It's with an S. We want to reset our animations to be our original animation. And to be consistent, I probably want to keep that with an S. So let's go make sure we have an S here. And then we want our self.x to get the original X. So as we begin a transition onto a new scene, we want to reset all of these values to be what they originally were defined as, so that they would reset their position and we don't have a particle system. Because if we I mean a particle system in mid motion. So if we walk off screen here while this guy's chasing us, look at the particles. Now remember those particles, and we go back, and it's as if no time had passed. See, like he's like, it's literally because we're not updating his time as soon as we go off. So we only resume his update there. So this is what we're trying to fix in today's episode, is that we want him to reset back to its original position so that he doesn't have that trail or that memory of where he was. And you know, I'm working on getting a programming job. I don't think I'll work in game dev full time, but I'm hoping that getting a programming job gets me more experience using the tools I want to use as a game dev, and then I can just continue it as a hobby, because I don't want to charge people for my games and stuff. So ideally, if I can keep it as a hobby, I don't have to ever, you know, officially charge people for the money in order to play, because I don't think there should be any barrier to entry to experience the art I want to create. So I'm trying to keep it free. So I think it'll just stay a hobby, and I'm cool with that. So why do I keep recording a macro? What is going on? Okay. Dude, every button I press is recording a macro. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we want our self dot direction to get updated to be our original direction. Original direction. And then we want our type to get its original type. I'm hoping this works. Okay, so now we've got this function. So now we can do like what Puny Magus was saying, where we can say, we can cycle through the number of entities we have in our map and go ahead and then run this reset original position to go ahead, hopefully, update our original position. So, or reset to original position. And I guess reset, I guess that makes sense. We can always name this different. As long as these, yeah, I think this will be fine, because we're not updating these values. So just whatever they get instantiated as, they get saved a copy, and then we'll be able to go do it. Oh, that's cool. RPG Maker, I've heard of some of that stuff. Is that like Game Maker Studio, or is that a totally different thing? I don't know if is that a program, or is it like an online tool? Okay, yep. So we've got this. Now I'm curious if let's just see. I'm kind of curious if we put, before we, well, we might as well try to implement it, because what we can do is we want to find where we begin our transition, right? Because that's when we want to reset it. We want to do it there because that's the very frame our old entity would come on screen. We want to do that. We can either do that or upon an end shifting. Hey, nice. Yeah, I've never tried RPG Maker, but I'm pretty sure I've heard of it. So look, we have the tester here. So I guess we can make a decision. We either want to reset it upon leaving the scene and finishing the transition, or we want to reset it upon beginning the transition for the new one to come on screen. To me, it makes sense to And something I always forget, I gave us a little money button so I can give everybody gold. They want a different Pokemon character on their stream avatar. So yeah, I think now thinking about it, it makes sense more upon a finish shifting to kind of reset their positions. So I think what we'll do is at the end of our finish shifting, we want to cycle through, and you know what? It's actually not at the very end. It's going to be. We want to do it before we reset our map, right? So, roguelike engines made for RPG Maker. That's awesome. Hey, you guys can feel free to share your GitHub in the comment here, in the chat, if you want to share your projects. Like, I'm totally cool with you guys sharing your games here in chat. Yeah, before we shift our... Once we finish shifting, our next map becomes our current map. So we want to change our next map's entities here. We want to change next map. Well, no. We want to change our current map before we change it. So we get... Let me just take a look at my begin shifting, make sure I'm understanding this. We have a next map that gets started. Okay, yeah. So I think this is right. Before we reset our current map to become our next map, we want to cycle through all of our current map entities. It's just that our current... Okay, so this is where it diverts from what I'm wanting to do. Well, because the thing is, our map declarations over here, our map declarations here is a dot entities of our maps table, of our global map table, not of our map instantiation. So we can either copy... Yeah, see, we've got to make some decisions here, what we want to do. We could put... For right now, I'm just going to put the map itself. So I'm going to hard code in the 1-2 right now just to test our function and see if it works. So I'm going to say our entities, and then since we only have one entity, I can hard code that in too. And we want to reset our original positions, right? Or was it original position with position? Let's make sure. Yeah, reset original position, camel case, no S. Okay. So upon finish shifting, we're going to go ahead, run the reset original position function on the entity that is the only entity in our map of 1-2, and that's the only map we have an entity in. So if this guy's chasing us and he's all the way in the bottom left here, I'm hoping upon a finish transition right there that he reset his position back to the middle, and we'll see, hey, look at that. We didn't move the particle system. So like his particle system was still over here, so we need to add a clear particle system to our reset position because his particles are still fading. But his reset position is working. So that's good. We just need to convert it so that we're not cycling through a hard-coded map and entity. We would want to do it for every entity, but let's see if our entity is what in fact has our particle system, which it does. So I think we need... There's a function for the particle system that can wipe out all the particles. I'm forgetting what it's called though. Clear. Let me see. I forget what it's called, but it's particle system Love2d. We'll just do that and we'll look through what it is. Yeah, Puny Megas. I'll check out that itch.io. I'm gonna bookmark your thing so I can come visit it later. So I know there's a thing that is, oh, it's release. So we want to call object release on the entity's particle system. So all we'd have to do is go to our entity.psystem and then run this release function, and that should wipe its particles as well. Wipe your particles already, dude. Yeah, your Dragon Ward is looking really cool, PewDieMegas. Yeah, I want to have a I know I've got a Discord too for people to share their projects if people want to go over there and share their work. That's a little more permanent way to share, because I know Twitch does delete the chat after so much time. But we want to go to our... We want to just clear, we want to release our particle system upon a scene transition here. So we want to not only reset our original position, but we want to go into our entity, and we want to go into the particle system for that entity, and we want to release it upon finishing shifting. So let's go ahead and see how that might look. Let's see if the particles are in fact gone. We'll be down here. The AI tool Rough Cookie uses is on GitHub. Okay, nice. Yeah, be sure to keep us posted, Super King, because I'm curious. Okay, let's see if the particles are gone. Okay, cannot use object after it's been released. Okay, so we need to release it. But what? If it's been released already. Oh, well, we do here. We release our particle system for our entities, but we don't. Let's make sure for our spellcast entities we want. And I guess, you know what? Maybe we can put. Maybe in our reset original position, we also go to our particle system and release it here. Let's try that, and then we go back to our scene and we'll make sure that this is off. I don't know if that'll make a difference, but let's see. Yeah, cannot use object after it's been released. So I think, well, that's really strange, because it knows there's a particle system there by the time we come back, because the particles are lingering. So like there's the particles, we come back, they're there still, even though they shouldn't. He resets fine, it's just the particles don't. I will check this. Yeah, see, like it's you know, man, this is cool. I love your whole setup here on Itch, PewDieMegas. Like, you got the whole the game pages is really cool. You've got the pixel font and then all the cool GIFs and everything. Okay, so we just need to. I mean, I guess we could reset instead of clearing. I mean, releasing the particle system isn't working like we thought it would, so maybe we save an original particle system location, which, if we look at our particle system, what do we do here? We move it to this position, so maybe we just have our particle system move in our reset original position here, and then maybe that will do what we're hoping. Instead of releasing the particle system, we just move it back to its original position. Let's try. So if the particles are over here, let's hope they're not. They're still there. So it's like that moves the particle emitter, but it doesn't remove the particles that are still fading out. So we need a way to kind of just clear the particles, which I thought was particle system release, but maybe there's a different thing that we're looking for here. I want to just clear all the particles that are there. Reset. Let's see. Resets particle mill. Oh yeah, Super King. That looks to be it. Reset should remove existing particles. So let's try that. We'll go to our entity class and we'll put instead of move to, we just want a reset. Let's try that. Okay, so we've got particles on the left side here. Now let's see. Booyah. Yo, that's it. We do need to reset its state though, because see how he's pursuing us right away, and we come back and he's pursuing us right away. We want to reset that as well. But that's it, Super King. Thank you, homie. That was it. We do want to reset our state though, which I think we can just manually set its state machine here in our reset original position. If we assume every entity is going to default to an idle, which I don't know if we want to do, but we could, if we look at when we declare our entities and how we change, gosh, where is it? In our map declarations here, we're putting our state machines here, and then we're changing it to an entity idle. So we would go ahead and change our entity state to be idle upon a reset as well. And we'll put that in the entity class in our reset function, and it'll be reset the entity's change state. Self, I mean, I guess it would just be self, right? Because this is the entity. So we would just say self change state, I think. Because the entity itself is what we want to change. Let's see that. So hopefully he comes, see how he's not pursuing. And then if he pursues, hopefully we go off and we come back on. Hopefully the particles are gone and he's back to not pursuing. Nice. That looks to be it. Sweet. So this is more like, Link's Awakening, where if you go off screen like that and come back, they kind of reset. And I think, we're going to have to play around with how difficult the game's going to be with, like, once we get collision detection for the entities as well, and then a better AI for it. Because we kind of want it to be like, if you can't beat the whole screen of enemies, and they keep knocking you back, or if you kill all but one, but then the last one's going to kill you, so you go off here to like go heal up or something, that if you come back, that you have to kill them all again, like for real. So I think it makes sense to reset them like that. But we can always change it if the game is too tough, or if we feel like it needs something different. But let's go. I think that's all I want to do today. I'm trying to keep the streams down to an hour so that I can get my homework done. And this is a perfect little stopping point for today. We can go ahead and delete this. We don't need that. We'll take a day here soon where we'll actually go clean up a lot of these commented out things, because we've been changing stuff, but I'm leaving it there just in case we need to turn stuff back on. But we're at the point where like half of our stuff is old commented out code. So thank you, Super King. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll keep everyone updated how it goes. I'll try my best to keep streaming daily, but it'll probably just be shorter streams. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, in the next couple episodes, I'm gonna take some time and clear out all these commented stuff. And then also go through and leave more detailed notes. Not so much to help. I mean, I guess it's to help other people understand and myself to understand, but it's really so that we can search and say like, oh, where's our multiple input handling? And we could search multiple input, or we can grep search it, you know, multiple input, and then we can go find it with a grep search or something. So if we leave more detailed comments, we could hop through our whole code base a little easier. So coming up soon, we'll be taking out the comments, adding in better comments so that we can navigate our scene better, or our whole project rather, repo. Let's take a look at our git diff here. It looks like, so what we did was we defined a couple of new fields for our entity, which is an original position and then a function to reset to those original positions. That also includes resetting our particle system, changing our entity state back to idle. We took our type and direction instantiations out of, not inside our entity declarations, we moved them into our entity declarations to make it a little cleaner. And then that's a comment we can delete, but we'll go through and delete that a little later here. Probably tomorrow we'll just take a day, take an hour to go sift through the code base and just give it a little bit better titles. But let's also, before we leave here, give us a couple of notes. And we want notes, we want to clean up old comments, and then we want to add searchable comments throughout code base. And then we do ultimately need to do, and we've got a lot on our next episode list. So yeah, we're going to be stenciling our log cabin, collision detection for our entities, player health and getting knockback upon getting hit, and then we're going to be adding collision detection for our spellcast. And then we'll start to have the makings of a game, because right now our spellcast isn't doing anything other than looking cool and circling us, but we want to be able to actually affect the world around us, and the world is going to be affecting us very shortly. And then we'll worry about NPCs and then dialogue stuff, and then we might dive into the music portion of the game. So it'll be, yo, you just won a jackpot? I've never seen that happen. Yo, dude, that's a good return on your money right there. So yeah, we're getting good progress done. I'm gonna add everything to the staging area, commit with a message saying reset entity positions upon finish shifting. Cool. Hey, you can slots up 350 or whatever. You can try to hit the jackpot too. It's possible. Yeah, you can go for it, man. Bet it all. Bet it all. Look at what it did for AKA Bob. All right, we did a get push. Yo, Puny Magus, you got some gold, man. So Super King, the gold is for the stream avatars on the bottom of the screen here. So you can buy different avatars, you can buy different Pokemon or different characters. So like we can have like an avatar Iron Man, and then maybe that didn't work. You have to spell it right, so you have to know. Oh yeah, see, there's our Iron Man, and then you can have him do stuff like jump or hug people or do whatever. So the goal is to buy skins within the stream avatars set up. And I'm looking for a streamer to raid here. Let me see if this person is coding. I want to hopefully raid someone who's coding. No. Okay. Okay, well, maybe we can raid Adam C. Eunice. He does a lot of Sprite art, a lot of good pixel art, and he's got some good tutorials on YouTube. But I will see you guys tomorrow. I will be here streaming around 7, probably shorter hour-long streams, but thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and thanks for following the project, and I'll catch you guys later.